This is all wonderful, uplifting news. Joey, I love our time together. Every time we get together, you tell me all the reasons I can't eat all the things I want to eat, the cheap food. What's the punchline here? I mean, aside from the optics, you were saying there's new gene expression, allergies, cancer concerns, and of course the environmental risks. But at the same time, let me give the pro GMO argument. What about, crops that are drought resistant? If we can genetically modify a staple food to be able to be grown in an environment where it typically struggles, so that people in sub-Saharan Africa can have plenty of food and not die of starvation, isn't that better than the alternative?
Absolutely. And I think that goes to one of the main points I had in here, kind of in the wrap up. Individual regulation. I talked about it before. GMOs as a whole, again, whatever opinion you have is fine. But what ultimately matters is this individual genetic modification and this individual plant that produces this specific protein. What can that do to me?
Got it.
That's ultimately, I think, where the research is done. I mean, when we talked about the regulations, that is where it's done.
Yeah.
So that's critical to me, that type of thinking, that this is not necessarily a bad or harmful thing across the board, but the amount of GMOs within the same species, how many different modifications have been done to corn, like we talked about, potatoes. So and then how do you do a study for 20 years showing that this type of corn GMO can cause this and this one doesn't? It's very complicated.
Yeah.
So I know in some ways I'm saying two different things. There's no exact answer here. I just don't think it's necessary to, as a blanket, say that GMOs are absolutely bad, that they're not doing any good, and they must be avoided at all costs. I think that blanket is much too strong. Now, if you have, for example, you have gut issues, that's more of a direct cause and effect. God forbid you get cancer 30 years from now. You don't necessarily know where that came from, and hopefully we will find out if these are causing it. Believe me, I think there's
right.
But when something like that, where you can have a little more of a direct cause and effect, somebody with IBS, and like I talked about before, I'm not saying that this is your answer, and I also like the things that come along with it. So if you eliminate some GMOs, you are more likely eating quality fruits and vegetables. You are looking at your overall pesticide residue exposure. That goes down. So, and organic is not the be all end all here. I just like the hormone topic, like the pesticide topic. GMOs are not permitted in organic food.
I was just going to ask that.
Yes.
So if it's organic, it is not bioengineered.
Correct. There's one little nuance. I had this up there earlier and I missed it. 100% organic is what it says, but organic can be up to 5% GMO. Whatever that's worth to you. I know. I couldn't believe it.
Wait. Okay. Say that again.
You have to redact your last statement now.
100% organic is its own label or description that would be on a package. That is accurate for all we know. Regular organic, just this product is organic, just the regular organic stamp, 95%. So there still could be some GMOs. Now they're approved, they're individually looked at, all those things, but they technically can still be in there.
So there's now levels to organic.
Yeah.
There's 100% organic versus possibly 95% organic.
I found that very surprising too.
Oh man. And look, reducing the amount is, 95% is better than 50%.
It is.
But that's still really frustrating. Okay. So organic means at least 95%. If it says 100% organic, that means it is 100% organic.
Yeah. So be careful with that. There is, like Josiah talked about earlier, there is a non-GMO, certification that you can get on your food as well. I don't think any of these things have any downside. Back to the organic, there's a financial constraint. There are, when you go out to eat and all those different things, there's access constraints for various people, but it is one way to cut down the risk. Back to the smoke or fire. I don't know that there's fire, but there's maybe some smoke, and that you're maybe supporting a smaller farm. You're doing all these maybe little different things that, hey, it's worth it for me to do.
Right.
and in particular, if you've got the inflammatory, irritable bowel diseases, particularly if you've had a history of anaphylactic reactions. You have a lot of different allergies. You have a lot of different food insensitivities. I think those all kind of would raise the bar potentially for what you can do. And going into a conventional grocery store with no organic food is just going to make that very difficult. How do I know which apples to get? If it's organic, you do. If it's not organic, probably is GMO, but you don't know. So I don't mean to always sound like so pro-organic, especially whenever a lot of these things we are discussing are not 100% conclusive, but it does cut down on the risk of all those GMO hormone pesticides that we've been discussing. It cuts down whatever risk is there, it cuts it down dramatically.
Okay, all right.